Trigger warning. Ghosts, ghouls, and gruesome stuff ahead. It's weird. It's dark. It's your kind of vibe. Welcome to Haunted and Homicidal, the podcast where true crime meets the paranormal. I'm Lauren.
And I'm Courtney. Every week we uncover the terrifying, the twisted, and the totally unexplainable. Lock your doors and grab your sage.
Because things are about to get haunted and homicidal.
Hello,
Whatever. I don't even care.
Hello.
I don't care. Hey guys.
What's up?
I now have a headache.
Oh, nice.
I did it until like 2 seconds ago and it hurts like right here. I think it's a sinus headache.
Probably with this weather.
It's fucking weather, man.
It's supposed to storm or something.
Okay, hey guys.
What's up?
Technical difficulties as usual. You think we would have this figured out by now because this is episode like 69 or 70?
It doesn't help that your cats lay on your desk.
But they don't mess with that. They don't lay there. They lay over here and over here because I usually have this tucked under here so nothing happens to it, right?
Well, I don't know.
I don't fucking know.
Nobody knows anymore.
Yeah, it's been a week. I am not looking forward to this weekend. Not like the current weekend. Also, happy birthday, Zombie Jesus. But like next weekend.
For a second, I'm like, what the fuck did you just say?
Happy birthday, Zombie Jesus. I'm not a believer. You guys know that. So that's just my contribution to Christianity right now.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
But next weekend, I'm not looking forward to it. I do not want to leave my house from Thursday to Sunday. Because we have spring break on the coast and traffic is going to be horrific and you think you. Anyway, a word from our sponsor. Hey guys.
What's up?
We are going to talk to you about something called HauntFest. Super excited. We are partnering with them for all of their little events. So, HauntFest is crawling back from the darkness, bringing more mayhem, monsters, and madness each year.
Step through the gates and into a fully immersive world of horror art, live music, spooky vendors, themed entertainment, and eerie activities lurking around every corner. Depending on the event, you may find axe throwing, trivia, animal encounters, rage rooms.
Ooh.
I need to do a rage room. Photo ops, food and drink, ghost stories, freak shows, hay rides, haunted attractions, and more. Some locations even feature camping, after-hour parties, and other exclusive surprises.
Our characters, awesome name, by the way. That is so cute.
I know, right?
Roam the grounds hunting for fresh screams. If you're easily spooked, grab a Ghoul Gone Glow bracelet at the gate to help keep the beasts at bay. Which is cute. You know, people have like autism and stuff and their kids are scared. I love that they do stuff like that.
My old roommate wanted one for when we went to Terror on the Coast.
Nice. So yeah, HauntFest, they're taking everybody into consideration. Pre-sale tickets start at a killer price for the full nightmare experience. Upgrade to the RIP pass for exclusive perks. Season passes are now also available, granting access to any HauntFest event throughout the whole entire year.
Whether you're a thrill seeker, a horror fanatic, an Addams Family, or simply dead inside.
That's me.
Like Lauren. HauntFest is where Halloween never dies.
This is my jam.
Slip on your monster skins and join us for a weekend of scares, screams, and unforgettable memories.
Join HauntFest at the 2026 premiere of Death March at Trim Tab Brewing Company in Birmingham, Alabama. The thrills begin at 2 p.m. on March 7th and 8th, with the event ending at midnight on Saturday and 8 p.m. on Sunday.
And then HauntFest is back for its 4th annual Athens, Georgia event, April Ghouls, at Terrapin Beer Company on April 11th and 12th, 2026 at 2 p.m. Throw on a costume and boogie at our new Dead Man's Party from 10 p.m. to midnight on Saturday.
I'm loving all these names.
I know, right?
HauntFest returns to historic Hopkins Farm in Simpsonville, South Carolina for a September to Dismember on September 25th and 26th from 5 p.m. to midnight on Friday and 2 p.m. to midnight on Saturday. Hopkins Haunted Attraction will feature a sneak peek walkthrough haunt for the event, which will open at 7:30 p.m. each night and is included in your festival entry ticket. A September to Dismember will be a full-fledged weekend festival with vendors, live music, themed entertainment, and much more. Prepare for a dead man's party.
This November, join us for some post-Halloween thrills at the premiere of HauntFest Harvest of Horrors at Bobby Brown Park in Elberton, Georgia. The magic begins at 5 p.m. on the 6th and 2 p.m. on the 7th, continuing until the clock strikes midnight. Camping, yurts, movie screenings, bouncy houses, and more are offered at this venue. If you're a raging psychopath,
I am.
sign up to sleep in our night terrors camping area where our ghouls can creep around your tent after hours until 2 a.m. on Sunday morning.
That sounds so fun, guys.
To take a first look at the venue, come to our free On the Water Sink or Swim horror movie promo event on July 25th. For more information, to get involved, or to buy tickets, visit hauntfest.net.
Guys, do it. Okay, love you. Bye.
Do it.
I still want to go.
Yes.
Maybe next year. I'm going to plan for it next year. But with the way this year is going, I don't even know if there's going to be.
Fuck this year, man. Fuck this week.
I don't even know if there's going to be a next year.
I'm over adulting. Fuck this shit. It's bullshit.
Yeah,
Whoever said adulting was going to be fun,
It's not.
they're lies.
They lie.
Lies.
Those are the people who were like born into a really rich family, who never had to work, who got
Bullshit.
everything they wanted. Those are the only people who think being an adult is fun.
It's not fun.
No, I don't like it. I'm very unhappy.
I don't want it.
I'm very unhappy.
I don't want it anymore.
No, thank you. Helpy Hilperton. Anyway, I guess we're just going to go ahead and jump into it. Our stories are pretty short today. This one's a little long, but it's going to go quick.
What?
I don't know. My brain just stopped functioning. I malfunctioned. I don't know.
I could tell because like your face just like stopped.
It's just like went blank. I don't know. It's like
the light went out in the eyeballs.
it just went pew, gone.
The light went out for a second.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why she won't lay in her bed. She always lays on the floor.
I think it's because I smell like other dogs right now.
No, she does this normally.
Oh yeah.
Just normally. And I'm like, you've got
Probably
to
cooler.
because I'm going to run over your feet. Cooler, but when we're in the bed, it's fucking hot as shit in there, and she likes to be under the blanket.
Hi, Mischa.
Hi, baby. Mischa. She's like, don't fucking talk to me, you goddamn traitor.
I brought you a baby.
She's like, a what?
I brought you a baby.
What?
You're laying
on your-
you're laying on your baby right now.
What is it? Come here. She's like, why is everybody talking to me in that voice? What?
Where's your baby, Mish? Where's your baby?
What is it, honey?
Hey, baby. Hey, honey. You're also mad at me because I opened my little pack and you thought you were going to get a snack.
Oh, that's what it is.
Hey, I opened this thing and she's like,
Anything that sounds like food that is untreated ADHD.
yes.
Not undiagnosed.
Untreated.
Just untreated. Because I'm more fun this way.
Woo!
So we're going to talk about the Clutter family murders. The Clutter family murders were shocking, not only because 4 people were killed, but because the victims represented a very specific ideal of post-war Midwestern stability, which was prosperity without flash. So, you know, they were prosperous. They had money, but they weren't flashy about it. They weren't like, look at my big watch. It was
look at my
it was
diamonds.
$1, you know, because like in 1930, $1 was like $4,000, right?
Look at my diamonds.
Yeah, look, kiss my ring. It's 1 cubic centimeter. I don't know how they do diamonds. I don't know. Religion without spectacle. So again, they were religious, but they weren't flashy religious.
Yeah.
They weren't knocking on your door, spreading the word of zombie Jesus. They weren't. They weren't cosplay Christians. Let's just go with what that girl's name is. Nicole Arbor said, cosplay Christians. And their family life organized around work, so, and duty and reputation. So their family life was above all else.
Yeah.
They wanted the family to be happy and prosperous, but it did not come at the cost of overworking themselves or never being there for their family or having a bad reputation because they did shady things to get where they are, right? So this was like very ideal, and this is still ideal, not just post-war, but this is ideal now.
Well, I just realized what shirt you're wearing.
I miss them. I haven't been able to go, so I had to feel closer to my Seven Brew people today, okay? Yeah.
I'm gonna laugh the next time you pull up. Where have you been?
Yeah, I've been not coming because I'm trying to watch my calories. Herbert William Clutter, his wife Bonnie Mae Fox Clutter, and their children Nancy Mae and Kenyon Neal lived at River Valley Farm outside of Holcomb, Kansas. Herb, depending on if you're British or not, I guess, had built a highly successful farming operation after graduating from Kansas State College in 1933. So remember, this is in the 30s, okay? Yeah. This is when this happened. Well, not this happened, but this is when... This is the era that we're in. Like it said, post-war. So keep that in mind.
Okay.
First working as an agricultural extension agent and then going into farming in 1939. By the 1950s, he was raising wheat, feed grains, grass seed, sheep, and cattle. And he had become a major civic and agricultural figure in western Kansas and beyond. So not only was he doing what he wanted to do with his own life, providing for his family, he was becoming like a big name in the agricultural world. Specifically in Kansas, but, you know, broadening out a little bit further than that. So to understand why the murders struck the county so hard, it helps to begin where the Clutters themselves began. Not with the killers, but with the family, because, again, they were very, very family-oriented. So it's very important, like, when we tell these stories, that we do kind of focus mainly on the victims, their family, you know, and how things kind of got to where they got. The crime became famous because of what happened in that farmhouse in November of 1959, but the emotional force of the story comes from who the victims were before the violence entered their home. So we're going to talk about Herbert William Clutter, who again is the dad. His early life helps explain the kind of man he became. According to the Holcomb Memorial Plaque, he was born on May 24th of 1911 in Gray County, Kansas. He was born to James and Mary Clutter and grew up on a farm near Larned? I don't know.
Let's go with Larned.
Larned or Larned. I don't know. Kansas people, help me out. That upbringing mattered. He came from the kind of Kansas farm culture that valued efficiency, self-command, thrift, and competence above almost everything else. So, duh. I mean, when you're running a business, that is what you want. You want someone who is self-driven, who can make the same quality product, but do it as inexpensively as possible. And as effectively as possible. Like, so if there is like a new way to do something that cuts 10 minutes out of the production, but you still get the same quality and quantity,
as she beats up the microphone.
Why not do it?
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what his family life kind of focused on. By the time he was an adult, those values had hardened into a governing philosophy, which shaped the remainder of his life, right? Capote, I don't know. We may find out, we may not. I read this story a long time ago. So, everything is a surprise to me today. I don't remember the research I did yesterday. So, there's that.
Okay.
So, Capote described him as physically fit, self-disciplined, and exacting. A man who still weighed what he had weighed at college graduation and who avoided cigarettes, liquor, debt, and wasted motion. So, he
said, fuck all that shit.
Yeah, I'm was working. Focused on his health, his family. You know, he didn't succumb to the proclivities that a lot of people post-war especially did, you know, to make themselves feel better. They smoked, they drank, they gambled, did things just for the hell of it. Like everything that he did had a purpose. He was not merely successful, he was a planner, someone who believed life could be managed through order and good judgment. I also believe that. And I don't do that.
No.
I should do that. I try to do that. But life is lifing, and
judging is judging.
It just pretty much said fuck you. And it was like, haha, you have a plan? LOL.
Fuck that plan.
Plan denied. That personal discipline translated into public prominence. So again, you know, like I said, he was doing really well for himself, and then he started being recognized like within the community, within the city, within the state. Herb served as chairman of the Garden City Cooperative Equity Exchange, was active in the Holcomb Community Club and school board. So he was, you know, with the school as well. So he branched out not only to farm things, but just like all a variety of other community resources.
Yeah.
Worked with the Farm Bureau and Grange, chaired the County Road Committee, and held leadership roles in wheat grower and farm credit organizations. So he was very decorated. Very decorated. The Holcomb Memorial notes that he was the first president of both the National Association of Wheat Growers and the Kansas Association of Wheat Growers, so local and national. What are you doing, baby?
What are you doing, Mish?
What is it, baby?
What are you doing, Mish?
Come here. What's on your back? You got a thread on your back. How'd you do that? Are you sewing again? And contemporary accounts long associated him with national agriculture leadership during the Eisenhower years. In other words, Herb was not just a prosperous local farmer, he was a regional agriculture leader with the state and national standing. Yet, Herb's public success came with private rigidity. Contemporary descriptions present him as admired, generous, and deeply respected, but also firm, moralistic, and somewhat inflexible. So, you know, he had to be that way to get where he was. He was not going to be flexible about his beliefs, about his desires, about his plan, about his structure, because it's worked so far. He did not drink. He did not tolerate smoking, disliked card playing and idle leisure, and believed time should be used productively. I get it when you're running a business, but this is not how you should operate your personal life, in my opinion. Even recreation, in his view, ought to be, quote, to accomplish something. Which, I mean...
He said, in your free time, you need to do something.
Yeah. Like, in my free time, I am accomplishing something. And that's to fucking accomplish...
Relaxing.
Nothing.
Ow! That was my leg!
What'd you do, baby?
Near.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Hi. You're so cute.
She's so needy today.
She really is.
He was a church leader and a Republican civic pillar, but he was not a social butterfly in the country club sense.
He said, fuck y'all stuck up bitches.
That's me. I'm a social butterfly. He stood somewhat apart from the wealthiest set because he did not care for their habits, which again would be spending frivolously, golfing, drinking, smoking,
mistresses.
Going to church on Sunday, folding your hands in front of you, and then sinning Monday through Saturday. Like, he didn't believe in all that. So those qualities made him impressive, but it also meant the family home ran by his values. So a little kind of like overbearing, and everything had a place, every person a role, and that atmosphere shaped his children profoundly, which obviously if you're growing up in that kind of culture, that's what you're going to be raised and follow, most of the time anyway. So his wife, Bonnie Mae Foxclutter, she came from a different temperament. The memorial plaque, obviously each of them have a memorial plaque after their murder.
Yeah.
And so in case anybody's wondering, like, why are there memorial plaques? Well, after they died. Okay. After they were killed, they got a plaque. She was born January 7th of 1914 in Roselle, Kansas. So, like, they stayed in Kansas pretty much their whole life. She was the daughter of Arthur B. and Mae Fox, and she grew up on a farm just like Herb did. She grew up there before attending the St. Rose School of Nursing in Great Bend. She married Herb on December 2nd of 1934 and moved
She was 20.
Mm-hmm. I got married at 19, so... She was old.
Yeah, that's old for that time.
For the 30s, she was old.
Yeah, because usually they have them bitches married by like
15?
12, 13.
Mm-hmm. She was old by 1930 standards.
Mm-hmm.
Like 2026 standards. If you're 20 getting married, you're fucking crazy. Like 30, 35. That's a good age, I think, right there for marriage and kids. And she moved with him to Garden City. Those basic facts matter because they root her not as a vague, fragile figure in a tragedy, but as a farm girl who pursued professional training and stepped into the adult life with education, religious commitment, and a strong sense of family duty. So, like, basically they're saying, you know, even though he had, like, this rigid structure and it kind of boiled over onto the family, they were like, Miss Bonnie ain't no princess. She is not going to roll over and take it. She is a farm girl.
Weak bitch.
Right. She's a farm girl. She stepped out of the farm and went to nursing school. Bonnie is also the victim whose legacy has been most tangled up. Who is Capote?
We will figure it out later.
Because he's mentioned a lot. Bonnie is also the victim whose legacy has been most tangled up in debate over Capote's portrayal.
Where'd you get this blanket? This is
nice. In Cold Blood, which Capote wrote the book about In Cold Blood. Five Below?
Really?
I think so, yeah.
Damn, this is nice.
Mm-hmm. In Cold Blood, which is a book, she appears as timid, chronically unwell, apologetic, and psychologically diminished. So again, like her upbringing and the way she lived is contrary to what was written about her in the book.
Well, then why the hell did he write her?
I don't know. But relatives and later public recollections have pushed back on that image, arguing that while she did struggle with depression and health problems, which I would wager 90% of America struggles with one or the other or both.
Yes.
Capote made her seem more incapacitated and less substantial than she truly was. So he made her like a double victim in a sense. They remembered her as devoted, poised, active in church, caring, and much more engaged in family and community life than popular retellings suggest. So people are like, no, this is not right. Like some of it may have some fact to it, some truth behind it, but this is not right. Like you're portraying her in a completely dim light, and she was much brighter than this.
Yeah.
So that does not erase her suffering, but it does complicate the character of Bonnie as simply an invalid in an upstairs room. So we're going to get to kind of like what's all going on. The broad fact that her health was fragile is well established. The degree to which that fragility defined her remains contested. So she had some medical issues that kind of confined her bedridden, unable to do a lot of things, which is true. Mm-hmm. This is well documented, but in the book, it was like 0% that she could accomplish, where it was probably more like 30 or 40%. The fairest reading is that Bonnie lived with the real distress, but was not defined solely by it. Capote's account says she had been in and out of psychiatric treatment and had recently returned from Wesley Medical Center in Wichita, believing doctors had at last identified a physical spinal cause for the least part of her suffering. At the time, surviving recollections insisted she remained loving and involved, teaching in the children's division at First Methodist Church and participating in family life. Both things can be true at once. Bonnie may indeed have battled depression or debilitating physical symptoms while also continuing to be a mother, teach, help, and care as best as she could. So basically it's, they're saying, oh, she was just like, she didn't do anything.
Yeah.
She just laid in the bed all day long, didn't do anything. No, she was active in her children's life. She was active in the church. She was active in the community.
She's like, you'll never know I have depression and shit.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I mean, and that's like one of the things about depression. You learn how to mask it. You learn to put on that smiling face and do your job and show up and show out and then come home and cry for 2 hours.
Yes.
Like, that is just how it goes, especially when you're a mom.
Yes.
So they had older children. Had 4 children. Eviana, Beverly, Nancy, and Kenyon. The 2 older daughters were already out of the house by November of 1959, which is why I did not mention them in the beginning.
So the 4 people
Were
would have been
the mom, dad, and the 2 youngest.
Okay,
because
okay.
the 2 oldest children were already out of the house. They were not murdered in the house.
Okay.
So, Eviana was born June 26th of 1936 and was married and living in Illinois with an infant son. So that's why she was not there.
Okay.
And Beverly was born October 11th of 1939 and was studying nursing and was engaged with a Christmas wedding plan. So she was living with her fiance elsewhere, which is why, again, they were not initially mentioned at the beginning. That detail matters because the Clutters were on the verge of a family season full of milestones. Thanksgiving reunion plans were underway. Dozens of relatives had been invited. Beverly's wedding invitations were already printed, and there was a baby grandson that the family adored. So it looked like they had a lot going for them at this time, right? And these murders did not interrupt an unhappy or a stagnant household. And that's kind of like the point that they're trying to drive home is that these people were happy people.
Yeah.
They were looking forward to family, weddings, babies, they're everything that a family would look forward to, that you would want out of your grown children.
Yeah.
So, Nancy Mae Clutter, which is one of the youngest girls, she was born January 2nd of 1943. She was the family member that was most vividly remembered by friends, neighbors, and later readers, like people of the book, who read the book. The person that stuck out the most that they read about was Nancy.
Okay.
She was, by almost every surviving account, the social center of the household and one of those rare teenagers who seemed universally liked without being shallow. So again, the family was wealthy.
Yeah.
They weren't showy or flashy about it, but they were comfortable. And I'm sure the kids had nice things. So she had these nice things, but she was very humble, very polite, very nice. She was not lording it over somebody's head. I've got better clothes than you. I've got better shoes than you. She felt she was on the same level of people richer than her and poorer than her. And so she was very well liked.
To them, everybody was equal.
Exactly. They were all equal. So that was that whole purpose of having the money or being religious, but not being showy about it. Nobody needs to know you've got money.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Exactly.
Who cares? People are going to treat you how they want to treat you. If you have money and you think people treat you better because you have money, you're absolutely right. And it's because they want something from you. It's not because they care about you.
No.
Period.
Period. The end.
Yes. She was academically strong, so really smart, active in church, and deeply involved in 4-H. I don't remember what the 4-H club is.
It's a agricultural club in school.
I knew it had something to do with like farming and horses and shit.
We had that in my high school.
Yeah, I don't think we have a 4-H club here.
They kind of stopped doing 4-H. Because I think they stopped the one at my high school, like, I think a few years after I graduated.
I don't even know what it is because we're not like in an agriculture.
And it was sad
area.
because like they had like chickens and like other stuff, and the teacher, like the chickens were hers. Like she like raised them and everything. Yeah. Someone came and beheaded the chickens.
What? All of them? Yeah. Did they ever find out who?
I think so.
But yeah,
that is wild. That's so gross. Oh, I hate that.
Yeah, they killed the chickens. It was very depressing because like everybody at school was like, "Not the chickens."
Oh my god, that is horrible. Like, did they have it against the chicken or did they have it against the teacher?
I think they were just being fucking teenagers and being assholes.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, and they killed the fucking chicken because I think it was her. I think they just had one chicken. They had one or two. I think they didn't have a lot. And that was like her pet. And then someone came and killed it.
Oh, God.
People are fucking assholes.
Yeah. The memorial plaque notes that the Clutters were leaders in the Sherlock Strivers 4-H Club, and the surviving public record consistently describes Nancy as conscientious, gifted, and constantly in motion, like her dad. Bob Rupp, who was her boyfriend, and the last person outside of the family known to have seen them alive, remembered her simply but powerfully. She was, quote, really pretty, made top grades, went to church every Sunday, and, quote, there wasn't a mean bone in her body.
Aww.
Nancy's life was unusually full for a 16-year-old. She cooked, baked, sewed, rode horses, played music, helped younger girls, dated Bobby Rupp, and still found time to manage tasks for her mother and the household. So she was well-rounded. She did a lot of things. That's typical of a teenager like these days, especially 16, because our 16-year-olds are like, they're working, they're going out with their friends, they're doing stuff. One of the best known details from the last days of her life is that she helped a younger girl bake a cherry pie. So she was very youth oriented, helping maybe the less fortunate. Doesn't really say like why the girl needed help baking, but she just really enjoyed baking and really enjoyed helping people. So she just combined the two and helped this little girl out.
Well, that's nice.
In the familiar description repeated in accounts of the case, home economics teacher Miss Stringer said, quote, "Nancy Clutter is always in a hurry, but she always has time," which captures her perfectly. She was efficient without seeming cold, admired without seeming proud. Friends saw her as gracious and capable, someone younger girls wanted to imitate. She also carried a quiet emotional burden. Because Bonnie's health was inconsistent, Nancy often performed a daughter's duties and a homemaker's duties at once. So she was the oldest of the two that were still left in the household, it seems. So she kind of took on the role, the motherly role, when her mom was sick and she couldn't do as much as she needed to. She ran errands, helped with social obligations, kept things moving, and served as a bridge between her father's formal authority and her mother's fragility. Capote's account also suggests she was one of the few people who could openly discuss family tensions with her closest friend, Susan Kidwell. Nancy had plans too. She and Susan hoped to attend Kansas State University and study art. That future is easy to lose sight of because the mythology around Nancy freezes her as, quote-unquote, the perfect victim, but she was not a symbol inside her own life. She was a teenage girl with college plans, a boyfriend, artistic ambitions, domestic talents, and an ordinary impatience of someone standing on the edge of adulthood. So she was a typical teenage girl.
Pretty much.
Someone who had her whole fucking life ahead of her.
Yeah.
Muffin.
Yeah, I think it's Muffin. He's mad the door's shut.
Aww.
So the last child, who was only a year younger than Nancy, Kenyon Neil Clutter. He was born, I'm guessing it's a he. Yes, he was born August 28th of 1944 and is often the least discussed victim, partly because he seemed to have been more private by nature. So, boys tend to be, especially when they're a house full of girls.
Yeah, especially when he's the only boy.
When he's the only boy. But what survives about him is affecting. He was mechanically gifted, quiet, intelligent, and more solitary than Nancy. So she was a social butterfly. He was the trapped cocoon worm.
So you be Nancy. I was Kenyon.
I'm still Nancy.
I said you're Nancy.
I thought I said you will.
No, you're Nancy and I'm Kenyon.
Yeah, I've always been Nancy. I don't see why not. Life's too short. He was described as sensitive and reticent, living in a world of his own, which boys tend to do anyway. He preferred guns, tools, horses, machinery, and books rather than socializing. He hunted, worked with wood, tinkered with equipment, and had a pickup truck project despite being too young to legally drive. He was also active in the 4-H from childhood, just like his sister. Kenyon's inner life seemed to have been rich and self-contained. He hunted rabbits and ducks with friends, loved horses, and still mourned a favorite stallion named Skeeter after the animal died from being ridden too hard.
Aww.
On the final afternoon of his life, he was working in his mother's flower garden and talking with the hired hands, the help, the gardeners, or whatever you want to call it. The kind of ordinary, useful labor that seemed to have suited him. So he was happy being outdoors, doing yard work, gardening, man stuff. Oh, man.
I'm a man.
Yeah, I'm a man. He had a dry, understated sense of humor, but he was not expansive. If Nancy radiated outwards into the community, Kenyon folded inward into project skills and a few close friendships. In family terms, he seemed to have inherited more of Bonnie's sensitivity than Herb's public confidence. So they were all opposites of each other, but they worked as a family unit. They worked.
Exactly.
That contrast inside one household is one of the tragedy's most painful dimensions. And that is the family contained several different personalities, though they meshed well, and they were all extinguished in just one night. All right, so now we are going to get to the last full day of their lives. The last full day of the Clutters' lives makes the murders feel even crueler. Bonnie had recently seemed to have improved from her medical conditions. The night before, she had dressed up and gone out with Herb to watch Nancy perform as Becky Thatcher in a school production of Tom Sawyer. This was a rare occasion for Bonnie because she was sick and kind of bedridden all the time, didn't feel well enough. This was a big thing for her. The family was preparing for church, 4-H obligations, Beverly's upcoming wedding festivities, and a large Thanksgiving gathering. So they were preparing for everything. They were buying the food, prepping what they could prep, making sure they had decorations and everything that they needed for all of these events. And they
Hold on. Question before this makes me mad.
They were busy.
Do they know who fucking did it?
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't fucking know?
I did this research 4 weeks ago. I don't remember anything. We're finding out together. Okay.
Who the fuck?
It's Muffin. Or Fat Boy.
I want that muffin in. Who want my muffin?
Oh, he's not at the door.
I don't
They're
care.
down the hall.
I know, but I still want that muffin in.
No, Muffin is the worst. He unplugs everything.
He wants my muffin.
Yeah, he unplugs everything.
He's probably my favorite cat out of all your cats, just so you know.
Okay.
Quit dancing. I told you where you're at, Reed.
ADHD, okay. I dance it out. I have to figure it out. Have to get my brain function.
Quit looking at it.
It's flashing in my eyeball.
Don't look at it. Let it flash.
Took the star out of the sky and put it in my eyeball.
It can sit over there.
Okay. Read. And Nancy spent part of Saturday teaching a younger girl to bake, which is when she did that cherry pie cake. Cherry pie cake. Pake.
The fuck?
A kai. I don't know.
Just read.
Kenyon worked outside. Again, he was in his mother's garden. Herb attended to farm business and local activities. Everything about the day suggested continuity, so it was nothing out of the ordinary. This was everything that they did on the weekend. There was no visible sign that River Valley Farm had become the destination of 2 men driving across Kansas on the basis of a rumor about a non-existent safe.
What?
This is one of the most devastating aspects of the case. Nothing in the family's immediate routine suggested fear. Nothing about the evening implied interruption. The Clutters were not hiding from anyone, not involved in secret disputes, and not connected to any type of criminal life. They were exactly what they seemed to be, a respected farm family winding down from a normal Saturday night and preparing for Sunday. Church.
Yeah.
After church meals. The Sunday things that they do.
Yeah.
Resting, respite for Monday, right? Beginning of the work week, school week, whatever. That calm, ordinary ending to the day is what makes the violence that followed feel so especially intrusive. In the early hours of November 15th of 1959, Richard Hickok and Perry Smith, so yes, they found the people who did it, entered the unlocked farmhouse expecting a lucrative robbery. Unlocked because that's just how it was in the 1950s, okay? People still leave their doors unlocked. Like today, even though we know the world is fucking psycho, people leave their doors unlocked. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Lock your doors.
I have to tell these motherfuckers all the time.
Lock the door.
All the time. Their plan had grown out of prison gossip. A former cellmate of Hickok's, Floyd Wells, had once worked for Herb Clutter and told Hickok that the Clutters supposedly kept a large amount of cash in a safe. So it was a lie.
Let's just go off a fucking
Just
rumor.
a lie. In reality, Herb did not keep such a safe and generally conducted business by check, or it maybe a bank. Like if they had banks in the 1950s, right?
I think so.
Okay. So we're both clueless about that one. I don't know, but I would think
so.
I would think so. Like because like some banks are celebrating their 100th anniversary.
Yeah,
so
I would think so.
I would think so. Hickok and Smith nevertheless drove across Kansas believing they were headed toward an easy, profitable crime.
Dumbasses.
Instead, they found very little cash. They bound and isolated the family members room by room. Garden City police records state that Herb was found on a mattress in the basement, his hands bound, his mouth taped, his throat slashed, and a shotgun blast fired into his head. So that would be at close range. Okay.
That would be like no head left.
Yeah. Kenyon, who remember was 15, was found bound and gagged on a basement couch and shot in the head. So he was in the basement with his father. Bonnie was bound and gagged in an upstairs bedroom and shot in the head.
So they just shot everybody in the head?
It seems so, yes. And Nancy, who was only 16, was bound in her own bedroom and shot in the head. The killers left with less than $50, a pair of binoculars, and a radio.
So pretty much they left with nothing.
Nothing. They left with nothing. The brutality of the scene and the poverty of the haul are amongst the most chilling facts of the entire crime. There was no safe, no fortune, and no practical motive proportionate to the violence. So, like, they didn't just go in there and rob them. They murdered the whole family. I feel like if they had gone in there and just asked for their most valuable items, or would have been like, fucking take it. Just leave my family alone.
Yeah.
Here, have everything. I'll give you whatever you want. Just don't hurt my family, because that's just the kind of man he was. Family above everything else. But no, they separated them and bound them and tortured them and then murdered them. Like, it makes no sense. There's no sense in this crime at all.
Probably just mad because they didn't find nothing.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't really say, like, if they looked prior to killing them or afterwards. So, like, if they looked after killing them, the killing them could have probably have been because they just weren't giving up the information they thought they were hiding.
Yeah, be like, what's safe? What the fuck are you talking about?
Right, not the fact that there wasn't anything there. The crime felt uniquely senseless because the Clutters had offered no meaningful resistance. Like I said, they didn't even try to resist. He probably was like, take whatever you want. Just take it and leave. Please leave my family alone. They were cooperative, unarmed, and at the mercy of two intruders who had built an entire fantasy around a false piece of information. What happened in the house was not the outcome of a robbery gone wrong in any ordinary sense. It was the destruction of a family by men who arrived expecting money, found almost none, and killed the witnesses anyway. This is part of why the case has remained so disturbing. The violence was not only brutal, but grossly disproportionate and emotionally empty. It was very disproportionate.
Yes.
Like, and I'm not saying, like, if they had fought back, I could see them being killed. Because, no, I still can't see that. You are robbing them. Like, they need to defend their shit. But they didn't even do that.
Yeah.
They were just, like, take what you need. Just please don't hurt us.
But they were all like, where's the safe? Where's the safe? Where's the safe? There's no fucking safe.
Yeah,
what are you talking about?
Safe? We're not safe. Is that what you're talking about? Like, come on.
So it probably was why they all got killed, because they probably were like, there's a fucking safe and you won't fucking tell us where it is.
Right. And they just didn't produce the information that they were expecting to get because there was no information to give them.
No.
There was none, and they didn't want to believe it.
Lied to y'all bitch ass motherfuckers.
Right. So now these 4 people are dead, and you left with $50, a radio, and some binoculars that are probably worth $12.
Yes.
Like, come on. The next morning, Nancy's friends came looking for her when the family did not arrive for church. Susan Kidwell and Nancy Ewalt entered the house and discovered Nancy's body, setting off a wave of terror that transformed Holcomb almost instantly. Capote famously wrote that before the murders, people scarcely locked their doors. Afterwards, neighbors looked at one another differently because at that time they didn't know who did it. Roughly 1,000 mourners attended the funeral, so that gives you...
Damn.
That gives you an idea of how well liked they were in the community, right? So again, it's a testament to both the Clutter standing and to the scale of communal grief. That grief was not only for 4 people dead, it was for the collapse of a worldview in which a family like the Clutters and a place like Holcomb seemed protected by decency itself. So this just like ruined the illusion of safety and, because one, at the time they didn't know who did it. It could have been a neighbor, they didn't know anything, and it was scary. The murders did something larger than devastate one family. They changed the emotional climate of Holcomb and of rural Kansas more broadly. In community memory, the crime became a dividing line between a time when doors could remain unlocked and a time when innocence itself felt naive. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Don't leave your doors unlocked.
Mm-mm.
Open windows and unlocked doors are a death sentence. Okay, don't fucking do it. That cultural aftershock is one reason the murders took on a life far beyond western Kansas. The details were horrific, but the symbolism was even more unsettling. If this could happen here, it could happen anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And it does. Like, and I don't think this was like an isolated incident. Like, this happens all the time. We just see it more now because of social media.
Yeah.
You know, we hear about it more. Not that it's happening more. We just have the ability to find out about it now. Okay. The investigation initially held no obvious personal suspect because the Clutters were so widely respected and apparently had no enemies. Law enforcement processed the farmhouse, noted the bindings, the shotgun wounds, and the absence of a large theft, and began trying to reconstruct who could possibly have targeted Herb Clutter. The major outbreak came from the same prison connection that had inspired the crime in the first place. Floyd Wells, the former Clutter farmhand and former cellmate of Hickok, realized after hearing news of the murders that Hickok might have acted on the story about the supposed safe.
He said, "Oh shit, I fucked up."
He's like, "Oh fuck."
He's like, "Oh shit."
He's like, "Wait a minute. This is a crazy motherfucker." He contacted authorities and investigators began focusing on Hickok and then through him, Perry Smith.
He said, "Oh shit."
Yeah, he was like, sure, fuck. But thankfully he was like, oh my God.
Yeah, he was probably like, "I just told him something." He's like, he's probably in his head. He's like, "I didn't think they'd actually believe me."
Yeah, like I didn't think they would go do something about it. It was just a story. But thankfully he was cognizant enough to be like,
"Oh shit.
I probably should tell somebody about this."
I fucked up.
Hickok and Smith were arrested in Las Vegas, Nevada about 6 weeks after the murder. Their capture followed a multi-state search after investigators traced the prison lead and the movements of the suspects. After their arrest, both men were returned to Kansas. The case then turned heavily on interrogation and eventual confession. Smith ultimately admitted to the killings, and both men gave statements tying themselves to the robbery plan and the events inside the Clutter home. Smith was generally understood to have fired the fatal shots, though Hickok was fully charged as a participant in the felony murders. Their capture, confession, and prosecution became central to the later public narrative of the case and Capote's book. The reason the case moved so powerfully through the public imagination is that the solution was both straightforward and psychologically disturbing. This was not a mystery solved by discovering a hidden family secret. It was solved by realizing that two drifters with prison histories had targeted the Clutters for almost no reason beyond greed, fantasy, and impulse.
Yeah.
That's it. They heard the story and they went for it. That literally was it.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be careful who you tell to what. What you tell to who. You got to be careful. The men did not know the family. The Clutters had done nothing to invite the crime. The victims were selected through rumor, not relationship. That random, almost bureaucratic cruelty is part of what gave this case its lasting force, because it was absolutely senseless.
Yeah.
Fucking, especially the murder part. Rob them. Whatever. Get on with your life.
Yeah.
Fucking senseless. Because what? You killed 4 of them, so you didn't have witnesses? Guess what? Guess where the fuck you are right now?
You're so fucked up.
You're in jail for murder. 4 murders. Felony murder. Rather than armed robbery.
Mm-hmm.
Breaking and entering.
Mm-hmm.
Assault with a deadly weapon.
Mm-hmm.
You're in jail for 4 murders.
Ain't getting out that time.
How'd that work out for you?
Dumbasses.
Hickok and Smith were jointly charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder. Their trial was held in Finney County, Kansas. They were tied together. Nope, they were not tied together. They were tried together, convicted, and sentenced to death. So how did the killing the witnesses work out for you? And that $50, what'd you do? You go gamble? How'd that work out for you? You're going to die.
Mm-hmm.
The Kansas Supreme Court later described the case directly as a joint appeal in which the defendants had been jointly charged, jointly tried, jointly convicted, and jointly sentenced on 4 separate first-degree murder counts. That appellate history matters because it confirms how the legal system framed the crime, not as an accidental escalation, but as a deliberate criminal enterprise producing 4 murders. At trial, the prosecution relied on the physical evidence, the investigative trail leading from Floyd Wells to Hickok, the suspect's movements, and the confessions. The defense raised issues that included mental state and individual culpability, particularly in Perry Smith's case, but the jury did not accept those arguments as reasons to spare either defendant from conviction.
They said, fuck y'all, you're gonna die anyway.
Yeah, you were there. You didn't report it. You're just as guilty. Under Kansas law at the time, both men were eligible for the death penalty and both received it. Their convictions were affirmed on appeal by the Kansas Supreme Court, and later federal proceedings did not overturn the outcome. The legal process stretched on for several years after the 1960 convictions, but the final result did not change. Richard Hickok and Perry Smith were executed by hanging on April 14th of 1965 at the Kansas State Penitentiary.
Should have been a shotgun
to the head. In 10 days, that would be what? 70 years?
I think so.
60 years? 61 years? It's been a long time. That endpoint became part of the enduring public memory of the case, especially once the book In Cold Blood presented not only the crime and investigation, but also the long wait between conviction and execution. So what often gets lost, especially in retellings focus on the killers, is that the clutters were not important only because they died violently. Again, we talked about their lives, what they did. They were very active members of the community, of the church. They were very devoted to family life and farm life, and so they were not, this isn't important because, 4 of them got killed for no reason. No, it was important because these 4 people were pillars of their community. Nancy probably would have grown up to go on and do wonderful things. Yeah. And Kenyon probably would have too. They had 2 other daughters. One was getting married and had a baby. The other one was engaged and probably headed towards having a baby. They had a bright future to look forward to. And then just for nothing, they were murdered. Absolutely murdered. And it's ridiculous because, that Thanksgiving they were planning for never happened.
Yeah.
That family had to sit there, those 2 girls had to sit there and pick up the pieces of their parents and the younger 2 siblings being murdered. They weren't able to go to the wedding if they even still had it on time. That could have been postponed or it may not have happened. They were grandchildren that eventually did come that they were never going to be able to meet. Yeah. Couldn't meet their parents or their grandparents and their aunts and uncles, not all of them anyway. So it was just a very fucking senseless as shit murder. Just, I hate it. I hate it.
So, for my story, Kimberly requested this dude.
Kimberly.
Kimberly. We're going to talk about this dude, man. Why did you make me do him, for one? I still love you, though. Okay. So, I'm doing Charles Starkweather. He was an American spree killer who murdered 11 people in Nebraska and Wyoming between November 1957 and January 1958 when he was 19 years old.
Oh, my God.
He was like 19.
And he killed 11 people by the time he was 19?
He was 11 people. Oh, no, he did it in a year. He killed 11 people in a year when he was 19.
That's what I'm saying. He killed 11 people while he was 19. By the time he was 19, he had 11 people murdered. That's like 1 person a month. What the fuck?
So, Charles Raymond Starkweather was born in Lincoln, Nebraska on November 24th, 1938. He was the 4th of 7 children of Guy and Helen Arnold Starkweather. They were a working class family. His father was a carpenter who was often unemployed due to rheumatoid arthritis in his hands.
So that sucks. That shit hurts so bad.
So, Helen worked as a waitress to supplement the family's income.
Hi, Helen.
Guy admitted at Charles' trial to having pushed his son into a window.
What?
I guess they argue he pushed him, pushed him, I guess.
Into a window, not out of a window.
Into.
Okay, I'm like, one is a little worse than the other.
Yeah, into a window.
Okay.
Later, his wife would divorce him on the grounds of extreme cruelty.
For pushing the kid into the window? There's
It,
probably got to be more than that.
Yeah. His great-great-grandfather, George Anson Starkweather, was a member of the U.S. House of Representatives from New York's 21st District from 1847 to 1849. So his grandpa was a great-great-grandpa was a big shot.
Okay.
He attended Saratoga Elementary School, Irving Junior High School, and Lincoln High School. He later recalled nothing positive of his time at school, of course.
Okay.
He was born with genu varum, a mild birth defect that caused his legs to be misshapen, and claimed he was teased by classmates because he had a speech impediment.
I mean, that's probably true.
His elementary school teacher did not recall him being teased.
Okay, well, when did this happen? When he was in elementary school, like, what year would that have been? What year was he born?
1938.
So, early 40s?
I guess, yeah.
And do you really think in the 40s, based on how men were and how women viewed men, if this little boy was being teased, especially by girls, it would have been one of those, suck it up. Boys don't cry. Stop being a pussy. Just because your teacher doesn't notice something happening doesn't mean it's not happening. So he probably was teased. You know how kids are.
Yeah.
There are kids still being bullied in school and are taking their own lives because the teachers are ignoring it.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck that teacher. She knew something was going on.
As he grew older and stronger, the only subject in which he excelled was physical education,
Oh, that's good.
where he found an outlet for his rage against those who bullied him.
Okay.
That
That was good for like 2 seconds.
He then began to bully those who had once picked on him. Eventually, he felt rage against anyone he disliked.
I don't like that, but I do like giving somebody a taste of their own medicine. I do like that. Because normally they say if you stand up to...
But the way he did it, though...
Well, yeah, I'm just saying, but like if you bully the bully, usually it kind of like fixes the situation. And it's because they pick on people weaker than them who are not going to stand up to them. But the second you stand up to them and be like, you're not fucking doing this, or like, oh shit, let me go find somebody else.
Yeah.
So I'm down with the clown. No, the fuck I'm not.
You don't even like clowns.
I don't like clowns. I'm down with the sickness. Ooh,
No, fuck.
I'm down with bullying the bully, but like not just because you don't like people.
Yeah.
I mean, moving on. I'm gonna get in trouble if I keep talking.
Author Ginger Strand argues that his writings from prison suggest a strong element of class envy and bitterness. He went from being one of the most well-behaved teenagers in the community to one of the most troubled.
I would think so if he killed 13 people.
11.
Oh my God, 11 people in 1 year.
His high school friend Bob Von Bush would later recall, quote, "He could be the kindest person you've ever seen. He'd do anything for you if he liked you. He was a hell of a lot of fun to be around too. Everything was just one big joke to him, but he had this other side. He could be mean as hell, cruel. If he saw some poor guy on the street who was bigger than he was, better looking, or better dressed, he'd try to take the poor bastard down to his size." So, like, half the time they weren't even doing anything. And he'd just be like, fuck you, motherfucker.
Yeah, so, like, I'm all for bullying the bully until you become the initiating bully.
Yeah, which is pretty much what happened.
Yeah. I want to watch people like that get smacked the fuck down. Like, oh.
So, by the time Starkweather dropped out of school, his parents and family were reportedly afraid of him due to his violent outbursts.
Oh, no. That's never good.
Yeah. So, in 1956, at 18... Starkweather was introduced to 13-year-old
No.
Carol Ann Fugate.
No.
He dropped out of high school in his senior year and took a job at a newspaper warehouse because it was near Carol's school. He began to visit her every day after school.
I don't like it. Will you...
He taught
No
her...
18-year-old has any fucking business talking to anybody under the age of 17. I'm sorry. They just don't.
Uh-huh. He taught her how to drive, and one day she crashed the car belonging to his father, who banished him from the family home.
Oh, no.
He quit his warehouse job and became a garbage collector.
Okay.
He began developing a nihilistic worldview, believing that his current situation was the final determinant of how he would live the rest of his life, doing whatever he desired. He began plotting bank robberies and settled on a personal philosophy. Quote, "Dead people are all on the same level." That was his life motto right there.
I mean, he's not wrong, But what does that have to do with anything?
I know.
Bank robberies, did he like actually do any of this stuff, or he just planned them? Like it was just a thought, or was action actually taken? Oh God. Okay.
So the first murder.
Yeah.
So later on, November 30th, 1957, Starkweather became angry at Robert Culvert, a service station attendant in Lincoln, for refusing him to sell him a stuffed animal on credit. He returned several times during the night to purchase small items until finally, brandishing a shotgun, he forced Culvert to give him $100 from the till. He then abducted and drove Culvert to a remote area where he struggled over the gun, injuring Culvert before Starkweather killed him with several shots to the head.
Okay.
1958 murder spree.
Again.
So on January 21st, 1958, Starkweather went to Carol's home. Her mother and stepfather, Velda and Marion Bartlett, told him to stay away. He fatally shot them, then clubbed to death their 2-year-old daughter, Betty Jean.
What the fuck? He killed a baby?
It gets worse. He hid the bodies in an outhouse and chicken coop behind their house. Starkweather later said that Carol was there the entire time, but she said that when she arrived home, he met her with a gun and that her family was being held hostage. She says Starkweather told her that if she cooperated with him, her family would be safe, otherwise they would be killed. A note reading, quote, "Everybody's sick with the flu," was placed in the family home's window. The pair remained in the house until shortly before the police, alerted by Carol's suspicious grandmother, arrived on January 27th. A few days later, Charles' brother Rodney and his friend Bob searched the house and premises, finding the stashed bodies. The police issued an alert to pick up both Starkweather and Carol. They drove to the farmhouse of 70-year-old August Meyer, one of his family friends who lived in Bennett, Nebraska. He killed him with a shotgun blast to the head and also killed the dog.
Oh my God, so he killed people and a dog.
2 dogs. Fleeing the area, the pair drove their car into mud and abandoned it. When Robert Jensen and Carol King, 2 local teenagers, stopped to give them a ride, Starkweather forced them to drive back to an abandoned storm cellar in Bennett. He shot Jensen in the back of the head. He attempted to rape King, but she put up too much resistance for him to do so. He became angry with her and fatally shot her as well. He later admitted shooting Jensen, but claimed Carol shot King. Carol said she stayed in the car the entire time.
Okay.
And then the 2 fled Bennett in Jensen's car. Starkweather and Carol drove to a wealthy section of Lincoln, where they entered the home of industrialist Chester Lower Ward and his wife Clara. Starkweather stabbed their maid Ludmulia, or Lillian, Fenkel to death, then waited for Laura and Clara to return home.
Oh.
He killed the family dog by breaking its neck to keep it from alerting the wards.
Oh my God.
This is why... Kimberly, why did you make me do this one? Clara arrived first alone and was also stabbed to death.
Jesus Christ.
The fact that he killed the dogs, man. He later admitted to having thrown a knife at Clara, but insisted that Carol had stabbed her numerous times, killing her. When her husband returned home that evening, Starkweather shot and killed him.
Jesus.
And then while Starkweather and Carol were in the house, the Ward's newspapers arrived and they cut out the front page pictures of themselves and Carol's dead family. These pictures were found on them later, casting doubt on Carol's claim that she didn't know her family was dead. Starkweather and Carol filled Ward's black 1956 Packard with stolen jewelry from the house and fled Nebraska. The murders of the Wards and Fenkel caused an uproar within Lancaster County.
I would think so, yeah.
The flames of public fear were fanned by the era's ongoing panic about, quote, juvenile delinquency. Law enforcement agencies in the region sent their officers on house-to-house search for the perpetrators. Governor Victor Emanuel Anderson contacted the Nebraska National Guard, and the Lincoln Chief of Police called for a block-by-block search of that city.
Okay.
After several sightings of Starkweather and Carol were reported, the Lincoln Police Department was accused of incompetence for being unable to capture the pair.
Well.
It's like, where the fuck they went? Vigilante gangs were formed, and local sheriff Merle Carnop started forming a posse by arming men he found in bars.
Okay. I mean, not the worst idea I've ever heard.
Needing a new car because of Ward's Packard having been identified, the couple came upon traveling salesman Merle Collison sleeping in his Buick along the highway outside Douglas, Wyoming. After Collison was awakened, he was fatally shot. Starkweather later accused Carol of performing coup de grace, act of mercy killing, after his shotgun jammed. Starkweather claimed Carol was the most trigger-happy person he had ever met. Carol denied ever having killed anyone. The salesman's car had a parking brake, which was something new to Starkweather. While he attempted to drive away, the car stalled because the brake had not been released.
Mm-hmm.
He tried to restart the engine, and a passing motorist geologist, Joe Sprinkle, stopped to help. Starkweather threatened him with the rifle, and an altercation ensued. At that moment, Natrona County Sheriff's Deputy William Romer arrived on the scene. Carol ran to him, yelling something to the effect of, quote, "It's Starkweather, he's going to kill me." Starkweather drove off and was involved in a car chase with 3 officers.
I could imagine his face. He probably was like,
Yeah.
you bitch.
Romer, Douglas Police Chief Robert Ainsley, and Converse County Sheriff Earl Heflin, exceeding speeds of 100 miles per hour.
Jesus.
A bullet fired by Heflin shattered the windshield, and flying glass cut Starkweather deep enough to cause bleeding.
Good. Good debut.
He stopped, surrendered, and was taken into custody near Douglas on January 29th, 1958. Heflin said, quote, "He thought he was bleeding to death. That's why he stopped. That's the kind of yellow son of a bitch he is."
Pussy. That's so funny. Yellow belly bitch.
Starkweather stopped, and he's like, "Oh no, I'm bleeding to death.
Oh no.
Help."
Oh no. I got the bleed.
So, trial and execution. So, he chose to be extradited from Wyoming to Nebraska. He and Carol arrived there in late January 1958. He believed that either state would have executed him. He was not aware, however, that Millward Simpson, Wyoming's governor at the time, opposed the death penalty.
What was his name?
Charles Starkweather.
No.
Oh. Millward Simpson?
Millward. Okay.
Millward Simpson. Yeah, so your dumbass should have stayed in Wyoming, the dumbass, if you didn't want the death sentence. Starkweather first said that he had kidnapped Carol and that she had nothing to do with the murders. However, he changed his story several times.
Okay.
He testified against her at her trial, saying that she was a willing participant. Carol has always maintained that Starkweather was holding her hostage by threatening to kill her family, claiming she was unaware they were already dead. I don't believe that. Judge Harry A. Spencer did not believe Carol was held hostage by Starkweather, as he determined she had had numerous opportunities to escape. Like, he's like, bitch, you were part of this. You knew what was going on. You knew, no. Quit trying to be the victim. When Starkweather was first taken to the Nebraska penitentiary after his trial, he said that he believed that he was supposed to die.
Okay.
He said that if he was to be executed, then Carol should also be executed. Starkweather was convicted after the jury deliberated for 22 hours for the murder of Denson, the only murder for which he was tried. On May 23rd, 1958, he was sentenced to death, and Starkweather was executed in the electric chair at the Nebraska State Penitentiary in Lincoln, Nebraska at 12:04 a.m. on June 25th, 1959. Half an hour before the execution, the doctor who was supposed to pronounce Starkweather dead, B.A. Finkel, suffered a fatal heart attack. Finkel. Starkweather gave no last words, but in a letter from prison to his parents wrote, quote, "But Dad, I'm not real sorry for what I did, because for the first time, me and Carol have more fun."
What?
Yeah, I don't know. He was reportedly indifferent about his impending death and had become resigned to his fate. What the
I don't know.
Starkweather is buried in Wyuka Cemetery in Lincoln, as are 5 of his victims, including the wards. Carol was convicted as accomplice and received a life sentence on November 21st, 1958. She was paroled in June 1976 after serving 17 and a half years at the Nebraska Correctional Center for Women in York, Nebraska. She settled in Hillsdale, Michigan.
Okay.
So I'm gonna name all the victims. So Robert Culvert, who was 21, was the gas station attendant. That was her first victim. And then you had Marion Bartlett, who was 58, which was Carol's stepfather. Velda Bartlett, who was 36, who was Carol's mother. Betty Jean Bartlett, who was 2, who was Carol's sister. August Meyer, who was 70, was Starkweather's family friend. Robert Jensen, who was 17, boyfriend to Carol King. Carol King, who was 16, girlfriend to Robert Jensen. Lillian Finkel, who was 51, who was the maid in the Ward household. Clara Ward, who was 50, was Chester's wife. Chester Laura Ward, who was 47, was the industrialist. Merle Collison, who was 34, was a traveling salesman. And then he killed a total of 3 dogs, 2 family dogs, and 1 farm dog.
That's ridiculous. So that's our stories for today. We suffer from AUDACITY big time, as you guys could hear from, probably can hear. It depends on how much of this I'm going to edit out, because it might be everything. I don't know. But anyway, make sure you guys check out HauntFest. Even if you just go to their website and be like, oh, look at all the pretty pictures or whatever, do that and be like, hey, okay, bye. Follow us on Patreon, patreon.com/hauntedandhomicidal. If you subscribe even to the free tier, it will let you know when our pods drop, because again, sometimes it's not Monday and Thursday because I get sick or I just don't want to do it, and it just happens. So you can do that. You can send us your own stories or suggestions, or just be like, what's up, bitches, to hauntedandhomicidal@gmail.com. Then, of course, check us out on the Book of Many Faces. That is where we post pictures of our stories, the best ones we can find, because sometimes we can't really find pictures, like for my stories, because it's hard to find a picture of a psychic vampire. I struggled. But there's that. And as always, thank you guys for your support and for listening to us. I love you.
And don't forget to check out hauntfest.net.
Yes. Again, HauntFest. Okay, love you. Bye.
Bye.